Hello and welcome to this webinar, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. Okay, so my name's Chris Welsh and I'll be hosting today's webinar. I'm currently heading up TV and entertainment for MPP Global across EMEA. I'm sure by now most of you know quite a bit about MPP Global, but for those of you that don't, we provide the market-leading cloud-based identity management, CRM and e-commerce platform eSuite to the media and entertainment industry, specialising in advanced CRM and monetising digital content across any channel. We work with a whole host of blue-chip brands such as B-Sky-B, News Corp, Philips, Telegraph Media Group, DMG Media, The Times and many, many more. And as you can see, today's webinar is called Millennials, Catching the New Wave of Viewers, and we'll be discussing how best to attract, reward and retain millennial users. Okay, so let's get started. There are several areas we want to look at today, which you should see on your screen now. This isn't an index as such, but we will try and cover each of these areas throughout the duration of the presentation. So we will look at viewing habits of the ultra-connected generation, business model innovation, how to attract digital natives, using new technologies to reach these millennials, and we'll try and finish with a success story today. Okay, so first on the agenda is the viewing habits of this ultra-connected generation. And I think we all know by now that the TV landscape has changed indefinitely. The way consumers are accessing content has changed and is evolving around us. So let's look at some statistics to demonstrate this on the following slide. Okay, so 1 out of 6 millennials do not watch original TV series on the big screen anymore. 44% are watching TV on desktops, almost 50% on their tablet device. Almost 85% of full-length programs are streamed, and as we know, binge viewing is part of the culture now. I appreciate that one size doesn't necessarily fit all. However, if we define a typical millennial user, we get a better understanding of how we have arrived at these statistics. So millennials are younger, they have multiple devices and they have grown up with technology at their fingertips. They may not have ever actually purchased a cable or a triple play bundle and like to consume content that is relevant for them specifically. Personalization is so important. They are likely to binge view and most importantly they are prepared to pay for content that they deem relevant to themselves. And in the UK, over 20% of millennials are actually subscribing to more than one online subscription service. I myself subscribe to Spotify, Netflix, Amazon and Now TV, and collectively this amounts to roughly £30, much less than an entry point for a Virgin or Sky Linear TV bundle, say. And yet I have much more flexibility and content at my fingertips. One other statistic I'd like to look at is that only 25% of millennials have ever purchased a cable subscription, while 50% are paying for an online subscription. This clearly demonstrates that millennials are literally twice as likely to purchase an online subscription than a cable, triple or quad play subscription. Operators need to consider this very carefully. So what's driving this change? Well, I think there's several things really. And according to a ComScore report, people aged 18 to 34 are leading the pack when it comes to watching original TV program on a device other than a traditional TV set, so the big screen. And broadcasters need to create holistic offerings that include both linear and digital services. But I think the main catalyst for change has been the advances in technology. The average consumer profile has changed, and the industry disruptors who were the pioneers of OTT and similar streaming services. So without millennials, their habits, demands and interests, the market disruptors wouldn't have created such successful businesses. Netflix, for example, have changed the industry as we know it, repainted the landscape and have benefited from early adaptation to market trends. Not even trends per se, but forecasts too. It is important to not only react to market conditions, but identify what is to come and create products and services to meet with those predictions and to capitalize on existing trends. The second screen too has emerged as the key companion to viewers on the big screen. We can see that some pretty cool companies such as Beamly and others are trying to create great products in this space, products that enable consumers to comment on what they're watching, tag, engage with friends and even strangers who are watching the show, and even share this information socially across their social channels such as Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, Google Plus and the others. So while we expect to see growth in this area and more products built to capitalise and exploit these market changes, unfortunately for companies such as Beamly, they will always need to compete with Twitter as the world's #1 second screen companion for TV consumption. Okay, so what does this tell us? Terrestrial channel views are in decline and audiences are becoming fragmented. Younger consumer, less likely to subscribe to triple or quad play. TV still offers the best quality picture and viewing experience. Younger viewers are more likely to binge view. Multi-device penetration and video has never been higher than today, and TV is no longer a push industry. So gone are the days of multiple users viewing a shared device in the living room, with linear broadcasters deciding what the nation watches on what day and at what time, pushing the content they've chosen for a captured audience. So with catch-up TV, video on demand and OTT streaming services, users are now pulling the content they want to watch at any time on any device, and operators must adapt. TV can no longer consider itself a push industry. Things have changed. The consumer is now pulling the content they want as and when it suits them. We've discussed what's driving the changes and we are facing in TV today. We understand what this tells us, but what should operators do? So let's have a look at this on the next slide. Okay, firstly, I think they need to provide choice and lots of it. Lower entry barriers for digital, no contracts, a la carte, bite-sized subs. Increase access points, for example, more devices, channels and platforms. Provide diverse content, of course, sports, politics, movies, entertainment, and put the control back in the fingertips of the consumer. Unbundling content too. So if we look at Now TV, which is probably regarded as the most successful OTT service offered by an operator in Europe, they offer movies, entertainment and sports in unbundled formats, which enables consumers to select a subscription or service that they believe is valuable to them. Sorry, excuse me. Once converted, they are less likely to churn too, as they have subscribed to a service that reflects their specific interests and taste, rather than, if you look at a linear package, purchasing a bundle with lots of channels and lots of content consumers have no intention of viewing. They need to increase offerings too, so new business models, channels, different pricing models, more cloud-based OTT services, and offer content that is appealing to the demographics in which they are targeting. They need to grow and measure and understand their consumer, their customers, get a 360-degree view of this, do what you can to profile that user, their interests, their habits, their tastes, recommend content in real time that they should be interested in based on the content that they've already purchased or views. Create products and services that reflect these interests and try and upsell and cross-sell wherever possible. So let's have a look at the business models in the next slide. Okay, so with viewing habits disrupting the TV industry, entertainment companies and broadcasters look to new business models to monetize their content and reach this millennial audience. The connected TV, mobile devices, OTT and VOD services have opened up new opportunities and new ways to consume video content, with millennials already opting for these models. So the models that we're familiar with are on screen now. So we're familiar with the subscription video on demand, so Netflix and Now TV, TVOD with the likes of iTunes and SF Anytime, and AVOD, so we see the likes of the free TV channels such as 4OD, ITV Player, all adopting this model. And we also have hybrids, so the likes of Amazon Prime, where they offer subscription models and straight through transactions for pay-per-view and pay-to-rent and so on. Traditionally, consumers are able to view online content in a number of ways: by downloading an app to a mobile device or by watching online via stream. One major hang-up for the industry, however, has been the issue of revenue and how best to market and price programming that comes through a secondary device or outside of linear. And discussions are ongoing with networks and their affiliates about how this OTT and linear can be mutually beneficial to both and what business models work. And I'm not so sure there's any wrong and right answers per se, unless you don't understand your consumer. The model you provide must be attractive to your audience, understand their needs, and address their disposable income. What's right for the business, of course, is important, but without understanding how consumers will pay for your content, it will be an uphill struggle from day one. Okay, so some of the future pricing concepts are on the screen now, ones that we're familiar with, ones that we're seeing taking place in the industry today. For example, time-lapse metering on video would be a great way for OTT operators to engage new users and get them sampling their service. 6 hours for free on a Sunday, for example, or something similar, where consumers could watch several movies to start making their way through a sitcom or a drama series. Differential pricing via location, history and so on, and micropayments too. It's often an overlooked model for TVOD, and I think it's extremely relevant. Much like iTunes, operators would ask users to create an identity, link a payment account, and then can set up trigger points, such as value or time, and collect payments following consumption, which can encourage consumers to purchase multiple products or individual products which could be aggregated, subsequently reducing transaction fees for the operator and reducing labour for the consumer. Click and buy, quite like the iTunes model. You can also try and increase revenues with consumer-faced incentives, so operators can try and engage with their existing customers to help sell additional subscriptions. They could do this by offering incentives and benefits should an end user refer the service to their family, friends or colleagues, or even just to their social media accounts, which in turn contributes to viral marketing, of course. But without incentives, this might be less successful. But as a consumer myself, if I can receive an instantly redeemable offer for referring a friend, then I would exercise this at every opportunity. Gifting, device bundles and a la carte content selection are all successful tactics too from our experience. With gifting, you can offer rewards both to the recipient and the gifter, if you will. So it's a win-win really. Likewise with referring a friend. Okay, the next section is the digital natives and how we can attract these. So it's another important consideration. Possessing the tools that attract these digital natives is a crucial factor for TV and entertainment organisations. More and more millennials are drawn in by digital-only subscriptions, and companies can entice these consumers with promotions, recommendations, user-generated content, incentives and free trials to become paying subscribers. So content will always remain one of the key considerations, and let's have a look at that in more detail now. So the big question, is content still king? If we have a look at the likes of Now TV and Netflix, similar services that are consumed in similar ways, however their content acquisition models are quite contrasting. Netflix picks up older, cult content and add multiple series of the same title to drive binge viewing. Also, in recent years, they've started to produce, or at least pick up the tab, several sitcoms and drama series themselves. Now TV, on the other hand, try and offer the latest movies and the latest titles as quickly as they can. Both different, but both appealing in their own rights. So yes, content is still the king when it comes to paid subscriptions, and without quality or interesting content, then you won't win custom. That is clear. However, we need to understand how content can be used better to engage with end users. For example, operators are now analysing the video metadata to improve user profiling based on genre, cast, subject matter of the content consumed. And operators can use this information to offer content recommendations in real time, which makes the service more personal and relevant to the end user. And reports suggest that recommendations increase the time end users spend on your platform for obvious reasons. If you watch one show and you're recommended a similar show, you're likely to stay on the platform for longer. Should operators offer bundled or unbundled content? I think so, and we can see broadcasters doing this more increasingly. And while television continues to provide the best quality picture and viewing experience, the way content is being discovered and consumed is changing dramatically, especially for millennials. Okay, so incentivizing consumers, we've mentioned this a couple of times today. Incentivizing users has never really been more important. Consumers have so much choice today. So how do operators stand out from the crowd and engage with their target audience? As previously stated, content is extremely important in this respect, but besides that, what can operators do to attract millennial users to sample their products and services? If you can get consumers to access your service on a free trial, say, get their fingers dirty on the product and consume some content, their propensity to pay, once asked, is significantly greater. In terms of SVOD, free trial months tend to be the most successful way of engaging. But at MPP Global, we would always recommend that you do this while still collecting their payment information on day one. You can inform the consumer that they will not need to pay anything for 30 days and can access a self-care platform to cancel their subscription at any point prior to the first payment date. And this ensures a more seamless transition from free usage to paid subscriptions. And we have witnessed that this methodology is extremely successful firsthand by supporting the model for many of our clients today, including Now TV Movies. All right, the next section is new technology. So advancements in technologies such as new devices, formats, and so on enable organizations to present the new wave of viewers with more access to content they want on a platform that works for them. And if we look at some graphs to demonstrate that, so the left graph shows annual growth in OTT, IPT, IPTV and pay-per-view, while the right graph shows growth per channel without OTT experiencing the most aggressive growth and cable actually showing a modest decline. As we can see, Adobe forecasts show that cable services will actually modestly decline by roughly 5%, while OTT will rise 60-fold. We can clearly see that OTT, a reasonably new technology along with the IPTV, is presenting the highest growth in the industry right now, and this is expected to continue. These new technologies are changing the industry and operators are adapting. So the media business is evolving faster than ever, with operators continually developing better services and engaging with audiences across every screen and every platform. And yes, TV on the big screen is here to stay, but the way consumers are accessing video today is changing, as we know. And industry disruptors are driving market adoption. And some of the forecasts we can see, 5-year forecasts, show ongoing growth for the pay TV market globally, both in terms of reach and scale and revenues. Emerging markets grow, which masks an inevitable stagnation in mature TV markets such as the US, UK and the Nordics. So both pay TV and OTT will experience strong growth this year and beyond, complement one another and profit from one another with integrated service offerings. Okay, so OTT was once considered a threat and now is becoming an opportunity. But now broadcasters are aligning themselves, their strategies and roadmaps with OTT services in mind. They're keen to capitalize on the opportunity it presents. And well, why? Let's see. So increased average revenue per user via cross-selling and upselling to OTT services. Users spend 4 times more on VOD or purchase downloads than traditional TV viewers. As a growing market by 2016, 35% of global mobile users will be using OTT services on that device. So the OTT genie is out of the bottle. This is an opportunity for growth, engagement and new revenues. Okay, so some of the challenges for the pay TV and OTT industries are on the screen now. Legacy systems, they are not fit for purpose in digital, where it takes maybe days to change a product price rather than seconds. Understanding the millennial user and what appeals to them, so entry points, content, UX, UI, commitment and flexibility, retention. Do you want to adopt the easy come, easy go model? Or loyalty campaigns with trigger points to reward consumption? Adapting to market shifts, OTT products, bundling and unbundling, value add services and infrastructure. So resource, automation, workflows, capacity planning, sharing, centralization, optimization, these are all important challenges that the industry is facing. And cable operators are in an arms race for content, and it's one that are not 100% convinced that they'll win. So the demand for content has never been greater, really. Okay, so I'd like to finish off today by looking at a success story, namely Sky's Now TV. As most of you probably know, MPP Global power this platform and in turn have a clear view of the service, what is working for them and why. Okay, so if we go back to the start, Sky had a target of 10 million linear subscribers by 2010, and they achieved this, and then the news that Netflix was arriving to our shores came out, so Sky decided to create a direct competitor, and Now TV was born. So Sky have traditionally done three things very well. They've acquired great content and produced great content. They have great services, the first to go multi-screen in the UK, and they engage with users very well. So Now TV has enabled consumers to purchase content without the need for a linear subscription. Customers can purchase unbundled content and bite-sized, no-obligation subscriptions or day passes. They have unbundled sport, entertainment and movies, and offer consumers the choice to purchase one or the other or an a la carte bundle. Like other operators, Sky had concerns over cannibalization and cord cutting or shaving, but a strong business model, a standalone brand, Now TV, and the product price points has ensured that their linear business hasn't experienced any loss of customer revenues. Also, they now have a new revenue stream from their OTT service, Now TV. In fact, you can see Sky advertising OTT services on their direct-to-home channels, further demonstrating that they do not fear OTT consumption will replace linear packages. So with this in mind, we can see working examples whereby traditional operators can align both their digital and their linear offerings, ensuring that they complement one another and experience strong growth across both sectors. And a quote from Philip Diamond on the next slide endorses these three areas. So three real takeaways from this quote is the multi-screen. Operators are investing in multi-screen. TV everywhere's been and gone, but OTT is still exploding. So services and technology. Content, the operators still need to focus on content and engagement. So these are three key considerations when creating strong services. Okay, so thank you for attending today's session. I hope that it met with your expectations and you found it both interesting and useful. I appreciate that we had to keep discussions to a fairly high level today. However, I would be delighted to continue the discussion with you directly should you wish to get in touch and discuss your own challenges and your own plans for the year ahead. You can contact us on any of these platforms you can see on your screen today. We have a presence on all of these. Also, please feel free to contact me personally or the business via LinkedIn, email or phone. We've also just relaunched our website, mppglobal.com, and we would encourage you to swing past for a look. You'll find resources that may be of interest, such as white papers, industry blog, company news, industry news, case studies, and even some more webinar recordings. So hope to catch you on there. Thanks again for your time and attention, and I hope to speak with you all again very soon. Cheers.